What is up, guys? Noli here, and welcome to another Payday 2 video. This is basically a Deathwish first opinions video. From what I've seen, with about 2 to 3 hours of it, or just the whole update in general, there are definitely some things I can observe. And I know Arrowkey actually did quite a decent video talking about his opinions and how he's not sure exactly how Overkill are considering this. We can't really tell. I feel like there's some things we can infer from what they're doing. So, starting off with the gameplay you're going to be witnessing. You're going to be witnessing all that is new. I'm not covering everything. I haven't obviously got the new masks or the achievements, but you're going to see some assortment of Deathwish gameplay, most of which is unsuccessful. Some of the stealth features that have been changed. The LMGs, which have been buffed slightly and just showing them off within the gameplay. And of course, the new enemies. Now, Deathwish is hard. It doesn't insult us as gamers, which is good. I mean, those of you who have done heists over and over again kind of need the changes. But when you're bringing in Titan cameras, newly respawning guards, and this is after changing some of these stealth mechanics. I'm actually going to bring up the patch notes in front of me. It's difficult. It's very hard to stealth things now, and I'm not sure whether that is definitely the way they should have taken it. I mean, stealth is sort of the game's bread and butter. It is the whole ghost class is most likely the most popular class for new players. It's cool. Who doesn't want to steal things without being noticed? It is also the most rewarding style of gameplay. If you don't get noticed, you don't have those lengthier missions. But they are nerfing the number of body bags a player can have to 2, and players can no longer convert law enforcers during stealth. Now, the reason why I think they've done both of these is because these were mechanics utilized, or they would say abused, by people who play Ghost in order to make Ghost missions sort of trivial. Being able to body bag everybody and put them in a big pile makes it kind of hard to be spotted. And I actually quite like the idea of reducing this to 2. It's going to bring more team play. If you're stealthing, you can't just have one guy controlling the stealth. All 4 of the players have to be committed to what is going on. I mean, 8 body bags. Most likely that's enough for a mission, but 4 or even 2? No, probably not. And if you only have 2, you're punished in that guards are going to walk the same paths as their fallen guards, and they're going to find the dead bodies and of course alert everybody as soon as the camera sees that the mission is out of stealth. Now, the second change, the player no longer being able to convert law enforcers. By the way, I don't know which set of gameplay you're seeing right now. I know there's some jewelry store Deathwish, some Ukrainian job stuff, and just some Overkill things, to see how they've changed that and how it's affected all the other parts of the game. It's also quite low level gameplay. But as I was saying, these skills, low level in that I think I'm like account level 16 by the end of it. So the player no longer be able to convert law enforcers during stealth. That's an interesting one. It makes some sense, the idea that we can't frighten them from a sort of stealthy, surprising... I mean, maybe it doesn't make any sense. You'd expect that if you are in stealth, you would be more... Well, you know, if it hadn't gone into an all-out fight and there wasn't the chance of them being rescued, you would surely be able to convert law enforcers. And the thing about this was, it meant you had an extra body. So, you have your 4 pages and your dominated character. That's 5 guards. You can then convert one to make 6. On many missions, there are 6 guards. The only way to do it, God knows how you're supposed to complete the stealth Overkill, what's the mission? Go bank heist now. It basically seems like it's going to be impossible. So stealth has taken quite a big hit. I think some of these changes need to be looked at, reverted, or balanced. You know, instead of just taking everything away from us, why not give us some other means of stealthing? That's the way I feel about it anyway. As far as Overkill's decision behind this, I just feel like they thought we were exploiting the system. They like the idea that this is a realistic sort of heisting simulator. So The idea that in a situation you have to think around it as opposed to using mechanics within the games to complete it. So you have to think, can I really kill this guard in this position? I will only have 2 body bags. That is a limit. But with infinite body bags, you think, oh, I'll kill him here and carry him elsewhere. So it is making you think more, but is it making it just a little too inaccessible? I don't know. The game in itself is hard. New players will struggle. And the fact of the matter is, experienced players are struggling with some of the changes, so it may just take us a while to get used to, but I'm not entirely convinced by these changes, put it that way. Lots of the fixes are good. We always like to see glitches fixed, issues fixed. It's all stuff that's being reported, and yeah, that's definitely a good change. As far as the boost system, the idea that we can't just repeat missions over and over again, it's kind of frustrating for me, because that's kind of how I level up. I'm pretty sure it's how everyone levels up, but no, it's definitely a move in the right direction for the game as far as trying to keep the game from being repetitive and increase the longevity of the game. Definitely a good change. So the boost system works entirely around that. It basically encourages you to do different missions instead of just repeating the same mission over and over again. The new achievements are all basically to get the new masks, and while I haven't obtained any of the new masks, my opinion on them still stands as they are cool. Now onto the enemy types. I'll just sort of skirt over the melee weapon. I made a little video about it. It's just the same, really. Slightly more powerful than fists. It's alright. I would certainly say use it over fists, but totally a matter of opinion. Now the new enemy types, as one of the guys that I was playing with said, I believe it was Spooktra, said the Skulldozers, which I absolutely adore the name of. From now on we are calling them Skulldozers, everybody. I don't know whether it was mentioned by Overkill or whether he made this up, but if he made this up, absolute genius. The Skulldozers, they pack a punch. They have a slightly different mechanic where if they knock you down, similar to Cloakers actually, you will not go into a sort of last stand mode. You will be down, unable to shoot. It's irritating, but it definitely gives them a boost over regular bulldozers. As far as their damage is concerned, it's absolutely off the scales. You're going to see a clip, I believe, at some point where I'm firing my RPK LMG into him, nearly get him down, he turns around, fires 2 bullets into me, I'm dead. I know I'm a low level and I don't have much armor on, but even so, making it so inaccessible to complete it, especially when they have the infamy system and people are leveling round and round in circles, it just seems a little harsh to me. As far as the Gensec operatives go, they're fine. They're slightly more accurate, will take a little more damage. I don't take any issue to them. A little more diversity is never a bad thing. That brings us on to the final topic. Added the new Deathwish difficulty. So, Overkill has been made harder. You'll see, because stealthing has been hit and because the enemies have been boosted in AI and general health, Overkill is harder. So what does this mean for Deathwish? Overkill was already pretty damn hard. I've had less of a problem from Cloakers, by the way. It might just be because there are far greater problems added. Cloakers have not been giving me the same issues they were before this update. Now, what Deathwish is going to do is it's going to basically increase the enemy AI over everything. So not only will they do more damage, be more accurate, they'll also be more consistent waves, they will respawn faster. Oh, the accuracy. You'll see occasionally, I just get destroyed. I get demolished in 2 shots across the jewelry store map, and I'm dead. It's very, very hard to deal with their damage. On top of that, you're looking at Deathwish just changing missions in general. Some of the interesting examples of this are things like the first Watch Dogs, where they've basically cut the bridge in half. You have to jump over. I like that. That's really cool. They could possibly go even further and add more interactive maps, or maybe the ability to, I don't know, I can't think of anything on the spot beyond interactive maps. The idea that you can sort of knock things onto enemies is a good idea. Roll things off roofs, set up traps. Yeah, I would like to see that. I'd definitely like to see variation on the harder difficulties to reward us even more for playing them, because Deathwish is so damn hard right now. Okay, the idea of a missing bridge is supposed to make it harder for us, but you know what? I don't mind. It's fun. Nice idea. But then you go on to the stealth changes. And as you guys know, I was talking earlier, stealth has been hurt quite considerably by these two tiny little changes, as well as some of the strange new spawning patterns the guards have, which I won't really get into too much. But let's take, for example, first Framing Frame, Day 1. Framing Frame is a hard mission. It's really hard in Overkill. You'll see in the gameplay we struggle repeatedly to stealth it with these new changes, but the first mission now has Titan cameras. What these are basically indestructible cameras. You can't melee them and you can't shoot them. The only way you can deactivate them is by getting rid of the guard who controls them, which, bearing in mind, already you're limited to the number of guards you can kill without setting the alarms off. So either you get rid of the Titan cameras or you leave a guard wandering around. Which is better? I have no idea. It makes the mission so hard to stealth. I don't know. I just think possibly they've gone too far on this one. Like, I love the idea of difficulty, but when this is what everyone's doing right now, you know, you add an update, people are going to play it. So why make it kind of inaccessible for the majority of the players? You have to be level 100, in my opinion, to have a good chance. A full team of level 100s to have a good chance of those multi-day missions. As far as the single-day missions go, they are not as hard. You can sort of cheese your way through them. And that's why a sort of delicate balance has to be found. And I don't feel like this should be patched or reverted in a sort of flat damage manner. So what I mean by that, they should add new elements of the mission to make it more doable. Keep it more of a role-playing style, though. So instead of just decreasing the damage of the enemies, give them susceptible weaknesses. The Bulldozer doesn't have peripheral vision. You know, he can shoot and demolish anything in front of him, but because his guards in front of his face stop him from turning, he's got really bad aim to the sides. He turns slowly, just nerf them slightly. Once you destroy those guards on the side of his face, he's better. Make it a little more dynamic to fix it. That's my opinion. I imagine a few of you share some sort of opinion. I was having a bit of a discussion with a few of you guys, and we definitely don't think it should be changed. It's so hectic, it's so enjoyable. But it has to be completable, because there's a price for it, and we play Payday to level up, to gain money. The reason for the game is to complete it. You know, the fun is obviously part of it, and I have to congratulate Overkill on making fun missions, but they're frustrating at the same time. One last thing I'd like to touch on, and you will see slightly in this video, are glitches. There are a couple of glitches brought about by this, which I imagine they will fix. Some of them they fixed already in update 24.1, but you'll see here we have the good old-fashioned double safe glitch. We open the Titan safe only to have I believe with the picklock skill can this be unlocked, a secondary black safe, which you can sort of reach into and grab the money out of, but come on guys, we can't have safes inside safes. It's really gonna throw us off. So I'd love to see the any glitches be reported and ironed out as quickly as is physically possible. Overall, this update is definitely a work in progress, and we need some time with it, and I believe Overkill also needs some time with our opinions. So what I say to you guys is, if you hate the update, don't be too discouraged. I think we're likely to see a change. And the worst thing you can do is go on the Overkill Steam community page and start ranting at them, because this is definitely not something that's hurt your game. If anything, it's improving it. So it's looking at how to make the game harder for the best players. But if you think about it, your Overkill game has barely been changed. You know, you're going to have the same game you used to have. Just because you can't play the update doesn't mean you can't play the game you used to love and play. So they haven't ruined Payday. I don't want to see this sort of thing. But if you do have an idea for how to change it, similar to how I do, just go over to the Payday community and start posting your suggestions, because they honestly do read them. I say we have to stay behind Overkill on this one, but let's try not to excuse any errors. Let's try and let them know, at the very least, hey, we take issue with this. It's changing the game in a way we don't want to see it going. I definitely do think we don't. Well, we want to see more difficulty, but it can't be forced difficulty. This is the one thing that I'm really pressing for: difficulty that is made through dynamics. So, like I said with my Bulldozer example, he's a destructive force from the front, but he has a downside. You know, instead of him being a walking death on legs. But as I was saying before, in conclusion, I do really enjoy this update. Definitely think it's a step in the right direction. It adds new things. Who can complain about new things? And finally, the LMGs are better. Stability was their main issue. They fixed some of the stability issues, and assuming you build correctly, as in you go and get the Mastermind Stability perk and you put the right attachments on, these weapons are certainly more viable than they once were. Give them a go and stick with the Deathwish. I'm going to be playing a lot more this weekend with a bunch of you guys. Certainly having fun with those of you I was playing with before. Let's try to keep up the high steam.